Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about 5 altcoins I am watching very closely. And also my buy targets for them I'm going to include in this video, as well as some profit take areas for me personally. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I do just want to ask guys, could hit that like button. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course I always do greatly appreciate it. Now, with that in mind, let's just dive in. Let's talk about a few things. So obviously, yes, we are seeing Bitcoin capitulate a little bit more. We could come down to some significant levels. I did address this in my XRP videos. Just know I am recording this ahead of time, so these prices will most likely change drastically as we do see indices open, and of course we do see updates along with the dollar and things like that. So when we talk about those prices, I do believe that these prices will most likely, I would say play into the narrative on my entry points on a lot of these altcoins. We're going to be addressing those. And yeah, without further ado, let's just dive in. Let's stop making you guys wait, because as we are really kind of watching this, a lot of altcoins are down right now, and I just want to jump in. So first off, Graph. So Graph was one that I was watching very closely during 2021. It was actually one that we had a pretty good entry on. I entered around the position that I'm actually trying to get in at right now, but it was a little bit higher. I was actually buying at around like 30 to like 35 cents. And then we rode this up. I sold a little bit too early. I sold at around like $1, $1.50. But I mean, $1.50 was like right before we went a little bit higher. But we grasped $3. I could have 10x'd at least on some of my entry points. But hey, it is what it is. Profit is profit. We are now down from the all-time high, currently sitting at about 90% down. So I'm waiting to see if this will capitulate a little bit more down to possibly like 92% around this range. I think that down here would be a perfect entry point for me personally. And when we talk about the overall fib extensions on this, so let's actually look at the graph. So if we can capitulate all the way to the bottom here, that would be something pretty significant. But I'm only looking for from our points down here. If we can get to the all-time highs again, that's going to be a perfect point for me, simply off of these bottom entry points, because even if we'll just go off at the top, right? Because we're so close to actually capitulating down to that point. We could either go off the top or at around like half of this box, but we'll just go off of this point here because we are already almost down 90%. This would be almost a 10x opportunity, and I'm really kind of looking at around like that 1.272 to roughly like that 1414 level, which this would be roughly about a 20x opportunity, all the way up to about roughly almost a 30x opportunity. Now, what is going to be pushing this price? Well, it's honestly just fundamentals around Graph. I think that Graph is extremely overlooked. I think that there is better projects out there, but similar to the run back here, I think that a lot of people, were kind of hyping it up a little bit with it being basically touted as the Google of blockchain, if you will. I just think that the Graph has some sort of, pretty interesting utility behind it. I think that when we talk about the graph, I don't think a lot of people have been really kind of paying attention to APIs, subgraphs, and stuff like that. I think the graph definitely is providing a lot of value to the space off of their use cases alone. But again, we're not really in a utility-driven market just yet. I think that, with speculation in mind, I think that we will just see pushes like this off of just speculation alone. But I do think that APIs, I specifically have been watching API use cases with API gateways, like for example, Quant, even Oracle and stuff like that. I think that a lot of it is definitely something to really kind of pay attention to, specifically with Web3 and even DeFi and stuff like that. So I definitely think that the graph is one that I'm definitely watching for, especially, if we are going to retest those nice lows going back to 2021. Now, ENJ. So ENJ is very close to my buy points. I'm watching the 200-day EMA, or the 200 EMA, sorry, here on the weekly, which is sitting at about almost 84 cents. Now, 84 cents down to the bottom figures from the May timeframe drop, which is like roughly 73.5 cents, is going to be an entry point for me. I will de-risk and have manual stop losses set up in case I, in case those stop losses do get targeted. But right now, at our current price, we are down about 80, roughly 2%. At the top of this, it would be roughly 83, down to about 85%. Now, just so you guys know, this is where, again, a manual stop loss will come into play. So if we do break down below this, I'd say like about 70 cents. If we break 70 cents, I'm going to trigger a manual stop loss where I do sell my position. I'm not going to have an automatic stop loss in place just because I do have time to actually watch the market. But the next point of entry would most likely be either at the demand zone all the way down to like February to roughly the demand zone recently it's like right before we started to pump out a little bit. It was at like 56 cents roughly. So again, if we do break that point, it's either a retest of that demand zone at roughly, it's like 33 cents, if you will, up to around like the topping point of like 41 cents or so. But if that is broken, then all hope is lost, and we're basically going to retest those lows from January 2021. But I don't foresee us going that low. I mean, even at this bottom here at 33, almost 34 cents, this is like already a 93% drop on ENJ. But I definitely am paying attention to ENJ as well. I think that, ENJ is something to really kind of watch for as well. I think that a lot of these tokens, in terms of like NFTs and stuff, I think that ENJ definitely has a lot to really kind of offer in terms of the NFT space. So definitely take a look at ENJ. It's similar to like HBAR Suit, except for just like all NFTs, if you will. So definitely take a look at this project if you guys do want to, possibly jump in. And of course, my entry points are on the board here at about like 84 to 72 cents, almost 73 cents. If we do go a little bit lower than that, I will have my manual stop loss. Same with on the graph. If we do break down a little bit below these points of entry, more so like at around like 20, almost 2.5 cents. If we come down, I'll start DCAing in a little bit at around the topping point here. But if we break down below that low from January 2021, which was roughly at about like 23 cents, then I will stop. And I'll have my stop loss set in place. Now, again, same with, how I did the graph on my sell points. Let's talk about ENJ. So, again, kind of just going off of the topping point right now that we have, and then kind of going off of my points of entry. So I'll just go off of the bottom point of entry here. I'm not looking for some massive ROI on this one. If we're talking about the bottoming points here, we'll just go off the bottom figure. I mean, I don't know if we will break the 200 EMA. If we do, then hey, the bottom point here at like around 73, almost 74 cents is something to really kind of address. But off of the bottom here to the all-time high is already roughly almost the 6x. I'm only looking for the 1.272 fib level, which would be a 10x opportunity, and I'm out of this position. I don't really care if we go any higher than that. I think that this is an easy 10x opportunity. Of course, can it go to like $11, $16? Yeah, sure. And I mean, this would be roughly a 20x opportunity as well. But I'm fine with scraping that 10x opportunity because again, 10x opportunities in the space are something to really kind of pay attention to because they do happen quite a bit. And they, are, again, incredible ROI. But also in terms of another altcoin that I have been watching, so my manual stop loss has been triggered on KDA. I was hoping for a nice little impulse off of the bottom point that we entered, but we did. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about the bottom point here, we did have a nice little 23% gain on KDA. I didn't sell, obviously. I actually took a little bit of a loss here once we kind of broke down below this on the other day. It was like roughly at around like, I forgot what, I think that was like over the weekend or it was Friday. It was like either Friday or Saturday. I can't really remember, but I sold out. I think I took like a slight loss on the position. It wasn't like an incredible position that I took, but it was testing that massive demand zone going back from October of 2021. And I thought that was going to hold, but now I'm really kind of eyeing this demand zone going back as far as October 2021 yet again. But this honestly might not even hold, but we are already down significantly from the all-time high on this. Like, this is why I've said, like, pay attention to altcoins that are down like already 90%. But, again, if this can push all the way down to this bottom figure here, that's a 92% drop. And I would say, like, on this one, considering the fact that this is like roughly around like the $2.15 range, I would wait to see if this does kind of climb down a little bit to like $2.05 before putting a manual stop loss in, and kind of waiting to see where the next major demand zone is, probably at about like $1.45. You might even get a better entry on this. But a lot of these altcoins kind of look, oversold in terms of RSI. So to me, a lot of these to me would be perfect long-term entries anyways, even if we do go into like a massive bearish market. But yeah, I think that KDA is definitely one to really kind of look at, especially if you are watching, like for an example, like DeFi and things like that. I think that KDA is one that really had an incredible year in 2021 and is really kind of focused on, builders and stuff like that. It's also extremely scalable in terms of their TPS. And yeah, I'm definitely watching this one closely because they do have some solid partners that I know personally in terms of like Cosmos and stuff like that that are pretty solid also projects. Now, I do want to also talk to you guys about two other projects, Curve and also Link. So Curve, I'm watching Curve pretty closely to see if we can get a good entry point on this. This actually has been holding fairly strong. I'm eyeing that $2 range down to about like $1.74 almost, 73 cents, if you will. Now, off of the all-time highs on this one, so this actually had a pretty good year in 2021. We actually ran up all the way until around like January where we topped out. And this is down currently 68, almost 69 cents. It came down to test like about 70% down. At the bottom figure here, it was like 73% down. So I'm seeing if we can get that one last time in terms of that $2 test. I will have a manual stop loss set on this at about like $1.85 to buy in at about like $1.73. But we might even come down a little bit lower if we do break this structure. So I'm going to be watching this trade closely, but I think that these bottom figures here are definitely something to watch for in terms of an entry point. There is a lot of passive income options with Curve as well, so I'm definitely watching this one very, very closely. Now, in terms of the bottom figures here, again, not looking for incredible ROI. I mean, like this would be about almost a 3x at about the all-time high. I'm looking for around possibly the 1272, which would be about a 474% run, almost a 5x, up to about like $12, which would be almost a 6x. Again, could I wait until $16? Sure, but I'm not gonna, just sit in one position and wait and really kind of have that risk over my head. So de-risking myself at those X gains in terms of ROI to me just seems confident. So with that, I do show you guys one last chart, and this is Link. So I made a video on Link the other day saying, prepare for like $9 to roughly $8. And right now, we are around our entry points from the other day. Again, I had that little bit of a manual stop loss stop me out a little bit once we did break down a little bit below $9.50 because $9.50 was roughly my original point of entry. But right now I'm waiting to see if we can get a nice little wick down at the December timeframe lows, which was at about like $8.71, to possibly just testing the demand range going back as far as like July of 2020. So I'm really watching Link closely because it does look pretty oversold here. And from this point on, like I would say off of these bottom figures, like I'm trying to get an exit point at about like the 1.414 to about the 1.618. And guys, like I said, off of these bottom lows, by the way, Link, in my opinion, is extremely oversold in terms of the percentage. It's already down about 83%. If we do come down to test this bottom range, it's about an 85% down. Again, to my exit points, the bare minimum ones at the 1.7 or the 1.272 is already a 10x opportunity. Up at the high end of about like $178, this would be a 22x opportunity. And Link's doing pretty solid things as well. Like, again, I've talked to you guys about oracles with APIs and stuff. Link is definitely one to watch for as well in terms of like interoperability between, devices outside of the blockchain. So definitely keep a close eye out on all 5 of these. Again, I'm definitely watching for those points of entries. I do have my manual stop loss targets in mind if we do go a little bit lower. I have been watching Bitcoin closely. Right now we are seeing, 33K kind of holding. If we do lose 33K, I'm definitely looking at about like roughly, 32 to about like 28K on Bitcoin. So with that in mind, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.